Trying to get all quiet out.
I'm sorry. I'm like Russian. I'm just.
Goodness, that is a way to start the morning. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in beautiful Mattawa, New Jersey. It is Sturch Gooch. We're coming to you, chopping it up from the Custom Creation Sports Desk, and we are ready to rock and roll. We got ourselves a jam-packed show. A very special guest coming on later on in this show to break down the longest day in Chop Sports history yesterday. By the way,
it was a rough one yesterday, man.
You all right? You feeling well? Because I overslept.
No,
well, okay.
Not doing good at all. If you guys wanted to know, multitude of health issues on the horizon.
Yeah,
I need to sleep more. I
was just thinking the same thing. I had all the opportunity in the world. Dallas was up big last night. I was like, I could just go to sleep, right? Then I got to talking to Sauce. And I was just like, great. Here's the conversation's about to start. And it was a good conversation, very constructive, actually, about the show and the brand and all this other stuff. And then before I know it, it's after midnight. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, I got to go to sleep.
Yeah, I fell asleep fully clothed with sneakers on yesterday.
I can always tell.
Woke up with a migraine.
You know what? I woke up with a headache, too. Went to sleep with a headache. I don't know what that's all about. Might be dying slowly but surely.
Could be just being a Cowboy fan.
It could be.
Fan.
It could be. It's a very.
Yeah,
I know.
We're born with headaches.
Jets. Yeah, you do. You were born with headaches. Anyway, if you guys are watching this right now, thank you. Like the video. That would be very appreciated on YouTube. We appreciate you as always, and of course, to support Chop Sports, you can do so by heading on to patreon.com / whatever slash you want to use. Chop Sports, look us up. There's a $3, a $5, a $10, and coming in the fall, right? This is what I talked to Sauce about. You'll just agree with it because I know it's a good idea. When we do our Lean Fridays with the Sauce, there's going to be only exclusive picks to Patreon members that are going to be. So if you're a Dynasty member, you're going to get those picks from the Sauce later on in the fall. But that will work up to that. We got a lot of things going on this week. Obviously, if you want to join Sturch and Gooch for the draft and others, see, I caught myself there, and others, you can check out MJ's over in Mattawa, New Jersey, right on 34. It's the Buttonwood, whatever the hell you call it.
Did I miss? Maybe it's an inside joke, or maybe we have to have this conversation after.
What?
I don't know. You were like, oh, and others. I caught myself there.
I was trying to.
I got it now.
Come on, now I'm trying to do my best here. So anyway, you can join us for the draft. We'll be there on Thursday night, eating some food and drinking some beers and sweating out the entire NFL draft as it happens. We did our mock last night, a lot of fun. We had a thank you to everybody that participated, who came on. Thanks to Nick Shine, who represented like 15 teams at this point. But no, it was a good time. But be sure to do that. Also, be sure social media is in the news lately because of our boy, Elon Musk. I say our boy as if I have any idea if this guy even likes him.
No, I love Elon Musk.
Dude, first of all, he's an innovator. Like, let's be honest. Like, he's done a million things. If you don't like him, whatever. He's taken over Twitter. He has not taken over Dat Chat. So you can head on over to Dat Chat on iOS and Google Store, Play, whatever the hell you call it, on the green text bubble people, which, by the way, you all bother me still. I don't like texting green bubbles. Ibby, you're one of them.
Talking to you, Carl.
Yeah, Carl's a green bubble guy.
Yeah,
that's just
so.
That's
full disclosure.
Unnecessary.
There was a situation the other night. It was over the weekend. Ashley was sleeping. She woke up and she texted somebody, and I was like, I don't give a shit. I don't look what she's doing, what she's texting.
You're creeping. Go ahead.
But there was green bubbles on the text, and it was like 1:30, and I saw a smiley face emoji in the context of the text. You know how they're like real big when there's only one emoji?
Go on. This is getting juicier.
I come to find out that it's her father's business line, and he was just saying goodnight to his daughter.
Oh, that's so nice.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
No, I'm just joking.
So I'm gonna save you in my phone as daddy, but it's not gonna be that kind of daddy. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying?
That's me.
Yeah. Do we have the comments up? All right, just nobody has joined in and said hello. So anybody, listen, the comments are open. The line is open. It should be in the description if I did this right. If you want to call in later when Connor's on, or call in to talk anything, it's available to do it. There he is, just cleaning the house. Elon Musk is going to work Twitter headquarters. What did he say? Like Ari Gold.
Elon Musk is going to walk into Twitter headquarters like Ari Gold.
I saw the meme, dude. The meme was great. It's actually Ari, and it's Elon Musk. It was fantastic. But anyway, Dat Chat is over 400 members now in the Chop Sports Dat Chat group. So go check those guys out. Kyle popped the comments. Sherry, there it is. Bailey, the floodgates have opened. So welcome everybody who is watching this today. Exciting news from the Chop Sports business side of things. Got a new applicant that we're going to interview to be our summer intern. I know we also have to talk to Madison, one of our Chop athletes. Speaking of Chop athletes, one of our newest shirts is available right now. Go check that out for our national champion D3 wrestler, Brett Counter.
The
muscle hamster himself has a new shirt out there representing his national championship. Be sure to go do that. I'd be remiss, and I'm not going to, again, hockey talk, it has to increase over the time. And when the playoffs start, I know it will. But the Rangers have a very, very big game tonight. They're playing the Hurricanes. They have a chance to grab another 2 points. They're trailing them by 4 with just the last week of the NHL regular season. So it looks like what it looks like right now. I was talking to our boy Kenny Levine last night via the Chop Sports Facebook group, and he thinks it's going to be the Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. So there's nothing more that I like in this world than to watch the Rangers take down crybaby bitch-ass Crosby. Oh, that would be.
He's fun to watch, though. Dude.
He sucks. I hate him. I hate him. He is the Dustin Pedroia to my to my baseball reference.
I could see that.
He is the guy that you want to just have punchable face and you just want to. But anyway, representing, by the way, today it's a big week for our boy Mike Tavertoff, one of our first, if not the first.
He is the
first Chop athlete. He had himself a fantastic pro day. Okay. I'm just going to read you off some of the numbers. Remember, he's an edge rusher from Rutgers. So obviously he had a decent season this year. The Rutgers defense was really good in the beginning, and then they kind of tailed off a little bit, but then they really got their stuff together towards the end where they got the bowl bid at the very end of the year. He ran a 4.7 540. He's got a 28 reps on the bench press, 28 225-pound reps. Now, I tried 225 the other day after not doing 225 for a long time. I got 211, and I almost wanted to die. So times that by another, and there you have a NFL starting defensive end caliber kind of guy. He's got a 35-inch vertical, and he's a 9.6 broad jump. The kid crushed his pro day. I'm praying, not for business purposes, for the kid. He's got a great family, great brother, great sister, just a great lineage. And, of course, the coaching staff that brought him up, the Grassos, I'm representing Union today. I'm putting all the good vibes into the air, into the week, and I hope that this kid gets drafted and gets picked up. If not, at least a walk-on tryout.
You know, one of the teams that
get some good opportunities.
Yeah, I think so, too.
One of the teams that are most usually always stuck together with Rutgers is the Patriots. Yeah. Bill Belichick is always looking into that Rutgers. That.
Oh man, I don't want to hate the kid though. I don't hate the Patriots, but they're just very intolerable. You know what I'm saying? So, but if he gets drafted, great. If not, he's going to probably go try out for the Jets. Whoever has these open walk-ons.
We always talk about this. If I'm not going to get picked in the first or second day, I don't want to get drafted at all. I want to handpick my spot, and I look at the rosters and I say, my best chance at the league is here, and then.
It's a pipe dream of mine to see Tavertoff get the call from the Dallas Cowboys.
I asked him this, and he said he'd rather get drafted because it's a guarantee. You get the contract, the moment itself.
Well, it is the moment. I'm pretty sure
there is the other side of it. Whereas if you don't get drafted, the silver lining is you're probably going to get an opportunity, and now you get to handpick where you want to go. You might be able to stay home, so he could go look at the Giants, the Jets, the Eagles, etc.
Giants, Jets, Cowboys, all these teams, they need edge rushing. So just let you know. Anyway, the Patriots have a punchable face. The entire team. Nick Shine coming in the chat. The Patriots have a punchable face. The entire squad. But anyway, before we get into all the draft stuff, we're going to be joined by Connor Livesay later on in this. He is a member of the Blogging the Boys.
That wasn't a dadism. That was his actual last name. It's not Connor Livesay.
I thought you said we're going to go Livesay. That's what I thought he was saying.
Oh, no, that's his name. Sorry, no dad joke there, folks. But we'll bring him in later on. He is from bloggingtheboys.com. He's also, I consider him an expert in the NFL draft over some of these guys that you literally, and I'm not mocking out, speaking of mock, no pun intended, I'm not mocking out the guys that have been doing this for 25 years, but more than likely, everybody looks at guys like Mel Kiper as a joke at this point. Not a joke, but
I think it's what
he's wrong
ESPN
a lot.
has done, and I understand the Mel Kiper hate, but at the other side of it, Mel Kiper's got a hard job. You're trying to predict what's going to happen. It's really only for fun.
Like a weatherman.
He's been wrong a ton, but he's also gives us our information. So everyone's getting their information from Mel Kiper, whether they like it or not.
I like Todd McShay. That's what I like. McShay's my guy.
ESPN. Yeah, really. If you're employed by ESPN, you're becoming a yes man. Mel Kiper might hate what he has to do, but he's getting paid handsomely to do it. So I'm going to do what they tell me to do.
It's just crazy though. And shout out to Mel Kiper because that is his job. So like the minute like this Mr. Irrelevant is drafted, he's working on next year's draft already. So like that's a 365 operation. So shout out. But Connor put together a 300-hour worth of an NFL draft guide. You could buy it off of him on Twitter. He'll plug it later on. But before we get into all that, listen. It's a celebratory day if you're a New York Knicks fan, okay? Because I'm not going to be, you know what? I am going to be that guy. I was going to say I'm not going to be that guy and like harp because I'm a Knicks fan and the Nets lose again. They're done. It's over. The season, this magical dream season that you all had scary hours and all this other crap, it is done. The Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks have officially finished with the same amount of playoff wins in 2022. That's amazing to me. You put the two of the best players on the planet on one team, and you call it a super team, and then you add a Ben Simmons, who, by the way, I mean, you want to bring this up? This is the greatest thing. By the way, it should be listed right underneath. If not, it's on the bottom. But there it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want, Ben Simmons NFT now available at shopsports.shop. So our first ever NFT is Ben Simmons. Look how pissed, poor, upset he looks.
What is going on with Ben Simmons? Now, full disclosure,
what is he wearing?
I stole this joke from someone's Twitter. I have no idea whose. I would love to give the credit. It might even been from Bleacher Report, who also stole it from someone's Twitter.
Correct.
Point being is hell of a fucking joke. Spot on. Ben Simmons, I'm not even sure how these guys dress, but when you're not playing, you need to just blend in. You know, Ben Simmons is out there.
That is not blending in.
Game 4, he's standing up and he's watching his entire team get dunked on.
You know what song I hear in the background of that?
Hello, darkness.
But that one too, but more or less your show, Curb. Dum, 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 da, da, da. And he's just sitting there. And he's like, just this loser mentality that he looks. What does he say? Looking like a Sesame Street character. According to Chris Payne. What's up, Payne?
Ben Simmons was low key. I'm surprised you don't see him fist bumping it right in that moment, because there is no one on earth that wanted the Nets to lose more than Ben Simmons.
Because then the rumors,
because then
you know what
this
is? Oh my God.
He would have had to have a nightmare or something for game 5. Like, I don't know. I had a
You know what this is?
Night.
This is literally, and you haven't seen the movie. Maybe you have. The Scout with
I've seen it with
Steve Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
So
you've never seen that movie?
He's not good with
Aren't
the
you a
sports.
Yankee fan?
He's not good with the sports movies.
I'm very good with good movies.
This is a great movie.
It is a good movie.
This is a great movie. But anyway, remember when he's like, I might have to pitch. I might have to pitch this night. Like, oh, you'll only have to pitch if the Yankees get to game 2 of the World Series or something. And then they do. Ben Simmons is in that moment. We're like, oh my God. Like, if they win, like, there's going to be rumors that I'm going to play. Like, what am I going to do? Like, this guy has officially made the bitch made of the year list.
He set out to not play this season and get paid for it.
And he did. He did just that.
So who's the real
I'll tell you
winner
what, after the final whistle last night, maybe like, no, I would say after the final whistle, the Nets look like, they didn't look like a team that just got swept. They look like a team that, like,
they were
relaxed.
Defeated. They were happy to be out of there,
bro.
Yes,
Not
I really
defeated.
do.
Durant had like 1 million points in the first half. He's finished with 39. Took 31 shots. So Durant obviously is giving a shit. Kyrie Irving was the first one to hug everybody as soon as the game was over. Like, come here, bring it in for the real thing. Like, what are we doing here?
He was like, it's about fucking time. And I think he was seemingly happy about the Celtics getting over some proverbial hump that they couldn't get over when he was there. But they made the Eastern Conference Finals with Jason Tatum when Kyrie was on the roster and wasn't playing.
Tatum is a star, and I think Kyle came in before.
Passing of the torch.
I think so. Kyle came in before and said that Skip Bayless actually said he would like Ben Simmons over Jason Tatum.
Yeah, he also said he would take Tim Tebow over Aaron Rodgers. Skip Bayless says these things just so we talk about it on our podcast.
And look, his name got brought up. See, that's that. I know. Mission accomplished. FS1. You got us talking about your lame ass programming.
Can we talk a little bit about the KD thing, because I'm hearing rumblings, and even Payne said it yesterday while sitting in the seat, and it's very easy for people to come out and say now after a playoff loss the way they look, but I don't think it was on KD. They terrorized him this series. They were sending different guys at him every single time he touched the ball, switching off. I don't think that it's KD's demise right here. KD's a solid player. He's going to be a top 5 player.
One of the best players in the world.
But when you're seeing the age, you're looking at an Achilles injury that he sat out an entire season with. He's on the wrong side of 30. He doesn't look like he has the frame to last a really long time. He's always going to have his outside shot. He's always going to be able to create offense for you. But you might, it is time now where you're seeing a new coming of age in the NBA, and it could be the LeBrons, the KDs, the players that we're used to seeing. They're not going to be postseason stalwarts anymore. You're not going to see KD. Could you imagine next year if they lose Kyrie? What's KD going to do? Are the Nets going to make the playoffs with KD?
That was my next question to you. Do you think now with this loss, the season's over? The Kyrie thing, he blamed himself. All this other stuff. KD's like, well, there's nobody you can blame. Actually, there is somebody you can blame. But like, do you think that this trio is together next year? Yes or no?
I don't think Ben Simmons is ever going to play ever again in the NBA.
You think he's that mentally scarred?
I truly think that there's something that's going on there where he has this perpetual fear that exists constantly inside of him, where he has this fear of taking a jump shot in front of another human being. And if you're in the NBA, you're going to have to figure that out. Even in practice,
a little bit.
We're talking about in practice when there's a video camera out in practice, this guy don't shoot.
Yeah.
We're talking about practice. Is it really that sacred? The video of your jump shot? You're in the fucking NBA, bro. You're in the NBA. You're getting paid $40 million a year to make baskets.
He worked the system and it won. He won.
No, he's winning.
I think he needs to be sit down and told, listen, you're gonna play here. We're gonna leave you here. We don't really need you to shoot, bro. We need you to facilitate and play defense.
But
that's
here's
what
the thing. It doesn't matter. You do need him to shoot. I understand what you're saying, that we don't need you to do this in terms of what your role
saying,
is
take
going
the
to
load
be.
off.
What your role is going to be. But there's going to be parts in the game where Durant is knifing to the basket or Kyrie for that matter, and there's an open guy in the corner and it's Ben Simmons. You're going to pass to him because that's your instinct. At that point, he's going to have to pull the trigger at some point or another.
Holy shit. I got the ball in his hand.
He was driving to the lane in the postseason last year when he was still with Philly. He was getting open looks at the basket and he wasn't taking them. He was midair layup form and then dishing it out. I'm talking about he's 6'10". Dunk
put it home. Put it home. And
there's something going on mentally. And I'm not here to even bash him. I've done plenty of that. You could draw your own conclusion. I think it's soft for a guy that's at his caliber, his height, to be afraid. Shaq went up there and shot his free throws every single fucking time. There was hack a Shaq. He just went up there and owned it. He couldn't shoot.
I'm gonna
free
do
throws.
this. I'm gonna make this one. Watch this. Damn, miss another one.
And Rob, we had the conversation it's hard to teach somebody a jump shot. Like either you can shoot or you can't.
Yeah.
If you're in the NBA, chances are you could shoot.
Yeah, but
does anybody get drafted based off their passing ability?
Markelle Fultz couldn't shoot, and he's basically out of the
also
league
another
now.
76er that
another guy that was picked second
mental
overall.
health issues.
So are they just mentally just destroying these guys? I don't want to sit here and say that. I think Markelle Fultz couldn't shoot. He had a wrist injury, and once his wrist healed, it didn't heal the right way. So
he had learn how to shoot all over.
I give him that. Ben Simmons, it has nothing to do with that. Ben Simmons couldn't shoot. The league was not respecting his jumper before anything that took place 2 years ago in the postseason. There's a meme out there when they were playing for USA Basketball.
It was like an all-star game. USA Basketball.
And it was Chris Paul, LeBron, Carmelo, and it was Ben Simmons having just let go a jump shot, and they're all looking at
laughing
him.
At him. You've never seen it, Dave?
No.
It's so
bro,
funny.
It's hilarious.
So
it's been a thing.
It's not photoshopped or anything. It's hilarious.
If Ben Simmons gets the ball on the perimeter, whoever's guarding him completely backs off. Like no respect. When I say no respect, they're daring him to shoot, and he don't.
Wow.
The real question is, Kyrie is unrestricted free agent.
He's unrestricted?
Yeah.
Oh, he's out.
He says,
out of there.
So March 26th, shoot around and have it here. He was asked, and he said he intends to re-sign with Brooklyn this summer. But that was on March 26th, before they get swept, mind you.
Oh, God. Is he going to be a Nick?
He did say he wants to run it back.
He wants to come back.
He wants to run it back, but
that's what everybody's
going
to say.
Players speak.
Yes.
Once his agent gets a hold of the other offers and things like that,
he's
going to entertain it.
He's going to go to and God forbid, knock on every piece of whatever. There's some kind of new thing where you needed a new vaccine or some shit. He's going to go to a place. He's going to go to a red state.
Yeah,
he's going to go to a red state.
Miami.
Where basically I could play every day and not worry about anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to go to a place that's going to let him
stick
play
around in Brooklyn.
I
think there's a very, very good chance that he does.
Is he starting to become the Antonio Brown of the NBA?
No,
because he doesn't have antics like Antonio Brown.
I don't think that.
Well, the guy puts sage on the court and walks around like he's in church.
Yeah, I know.
But look, he's definitely a rare bird. But Antonio Brown flies off the handle. I think there's a touch of CTE there. I don't think Kyrie has CTE.
So Kyle's coming in saying Kyrie has a player option of 1 year, $36 million if he wants it. It's on the table.
Well, that's what he's going to do.
That's what he's going to do.
If he's going to come back to the Nets, it's not going to be on a long-term deal.
No income tax in Florida.
That's right.
That's another thing.
There's also I don't think any real team that's interested in him in Florida.
Miami?
Him in Miami, Jimmy Butler. I mean, then again, does he
remember
play-
Jimmy
which
Butler
one again?
dictates all this
Jimmy
other
Butler will
shit.
bench him.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Get
true
off
though.
court.
You ain't playing on the road or at home. You ain't playing, then, bro.
All right, moving on. There was one question in there as Chris Payne came in and asked if anybody's upset that Spike Lee was openly rooting for the Nets. I thought Spike Lee has lost his credibility a long time ago. I don't mess with Spike Lee.
Everybody is allowed to root for whoever they like.
Jesus. Not when you're at a Knicks game every night, orange and blue.
Dude, like this is just fraudulent behavior. This is my team stinks. I need to stay in the spotlight. Let me go root for Brooklyn.
Here's what you
Bullshit.
do. Here's what you do. Root for who you like, but just sit it out. You know,
Stay home.
You don't need to
Or
stay
just
home.
go like sit
You don't
like
need to
you don't
be
have to
front and
sit.
center.
Yeah, you don't have to
Stay
sit
the fuck home.
courtside.
Stay the
Go-
fuck home.
Stay the fuck home. We don't need to see your
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Stay home.
You get it?
I did.
Game 2 on the.
All right, what do we got? All right, so this game was on NBA TV, so nobody saw it.
Bringing the show along. He's like, all right.
No, it's good. That's
fucking
exactly
Spike
what we
Lee.
need out of him. We need to move it on. But anyway, so this game absolutely gets destroyed. I had this completely wrong. I said the Sixers were just going to pounce on him and it was going to be over. And
If you run back yesterday's show, you might hear a special somebody, and I am special, guys.
I was just going to say, you call
Say
yourself special.
possibly Raptors money line. I felt like this was a possible.
And I think the
hit.
Sauce picked them at +8, so that was the pick. I missed this pick. The only pick I did was Dallas, and we'll get into that in a second. Bang. But yeah, so Toronto does their thing. They kick the shit out of the 76ers. 76ers are a little bit of trouble here because, I mean, look, I believe in momentum. I know there's a lot of people that don't believe in momentum, but if you do believe in momentum, it is swung. It is swung in the favor of Toronto. I did see Joel Embiid tell Drake to go fuck himself. That was funny. I saw that. But other than that, it's interesting because
This is what
now
happens
this is a
when
series.
you have a James Harden led team in the postseason. And I say James Harden led. Obviously, it's Embiid's the true leader there. But you see right now, Embiid's dealing with a thumb injury, and credit to him, he's playing through it, which we want your stars to do in the postseason. But James Harden, what did you guys say? He took 11 shots.
11 shots yesterday. Yeah,
and he wants to shoot more. And Embiid, there's already turmoil brewing in Philly where Embiid's saying, well, I'm not going to fucking tell him to shoot more.
Yo, this is great. This is great. You're like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, let these super teams develop and then fall apart because it's like you saw it happen with the Lakers. They were literally the worst super team ever assembled. Then you see something happening with the Nets. Now you see something happening with the Sixers. I'm here for all of that shit because it makes the Knicks look that much better.
Who's been struggling in the last couple of years, doing it all by himself with all the injuries that are taking place in Golden State, has a lot of laughs and a lot of emojis that he's dishing out to all these teams that are getting embarrassed in the first round.
Says, Harden looks physically bad. He looks like a terribly aging middle-aged man.
Yeah, like James Harden looks like his first name should be Earl.
Well, Joel Embiid came out.
Earl Harden.
I like that.
Uncle Earl.
Uncle Earl is official. Kyle says, how are the Raptors going to come into Philadelphia without their point guard and smack you around like that? Listen, this is a series now. This is a series. So
wasn't a good third quarter for Philly at all. Probably the worst defensively Joel Embiid's had all season. He got owned up there. I think in the paint it was 56-36. Toronto outscored Philadelphia by 20.
Wow.
And Embiid picked up his fifth foul.
I
with
wonder
like
if
5
that
minutes
has,
left in the game.
if that has anything to do with his thumb. Because look, it's hard to protect the rim when you only have one hand. He might be tentative at the rim because what are you going to do? You can't go up there and block a shot when there's someone trying to dunk on you.
Very
true. You have a torn ligament in your thumb. So the Phillies are banged up. I mean, when I say the Phillies, I mean the 76ers.
We know what you meant. We know what you meant.
Joel went on record last night after the game. They were asking if it was on Harden. He said Harden needs to be more aggressively offensively. Something he said repeatedly since Harden was acquired for Ben Simmons at the trade deadline.
This is incredible. So, I love this shit. This is actually making my heart warm when these all-stars start talking shit about other all-stars. It's fantastic to me.
And he said, I've been saying all season since he got here, he needs to be more aggressive. He needs to be himself.
That's like encouraging words. Like, hey man, you got to score more. You got to go in there and give it your all.
So if James Harden doesn't strike me as the type of guy that's going to go in there and tentatively look for his shots.
Right.
He seems like a piece of shit. And it's all he cares about is shooting and the assist when he's close to.
They asked Embiid if he would ask Harden to shoot more, and he basically told him that's not my job.
Harden said no.
Tell the coach needs to tell him to shoot more.
Since when are you going to have a star player telling another star player to shoot more?
Kobe would do it.
No, Kobe would be like, I'll shoot more.
Oh, exactly. But
Kobe would be like soft. Anyway,
soft as what do you call him?
James Harden does look a little soft.
Anyway, speaking of a good all-star, there was a good all-star last night, an all NBA stud muffin, and that is my boy Luka Doncic.
Luka.
What? I call him a stud muffin. He is. Look at him. Come on. Did you see the shimmy after one of the shots?
I think
he hit the shot.
I'm pretty sure he's
like
still
Guerrero.
Jiggling. He's still jiggling because I don't get it with Luka.
I don't get it
Jokic.
either. He's like a
These
skinny,
guys
fat
look-
athlete.
But I just don't see it with Luka. But when he plays basketball, he fucking
was
smooth
unconscious last night.
silk.
Unconscious.
33, 13, and 5.
Bro, and this is like you went into this game, and listen, I'm the one who picked Dallas to win the series. So I said it. I was like, if you get this guy back and you have it close, you are in striking distance of taking out the Utah Jazz. They can do that. And by the way, I'm going to say and going on record right now, our guy from the Jazz is not going to be a member of the Jazz next year.
Donovan Mitchell.
Mitchell's out.
Oh, no,
He is out. He is 1,000%
I think that's been
out.
nobody wants to play in fucking Utah.
He's been wanting out for like 2 years now. The Knicks are like a real place for him. And there's
God.
No,
you
but
say
there was-
that, and then Kyle coming in the comments saying, "Thank God the Knicks didn't trade for
no, but
Donovan
they
Mitchell."
want him. They're the Knicks, not the Knicks, but Cuban is very mad that not Cuban, the Utah Jazz owners mad because there were like Knicks officials sitting front courtside to Jazz games watching Donovan Mitchell.
Isn't that tampering?
I guess
Of
so.
some variation.
No, it's
So-
called fucking scouting.
I guess you could do that too. But look, I think this is a great series. I think Dallas is going to wrap it up probably in 7. I want to say they probably drop the next one, and then this one's going to go 7. But I like the Mavericks to win the series. I said it from the start.
I don't know the way Utah played yesterday. They're looking like they want to be where the Nets are right now, sitting in Cancun, sipping on a Mai Tai.
Yeah. So that was NBA last night, and obviously we got some games to talk about tonight going down. I don't even know I don't know the order. There we go. So obviously the Hawks looking to salvage their season. All these picks will be up on the Sauce Network's app. If you're a member of their his VIP list, go check that out as well. Game 5, I think the Heat just kind of put it away. There's a big number. I'm looking at it. It's -7.
-7. Yeah.
So it's a big number. And after the performance I saw out of Trae Young last time, I think this one's going to be a complete wash, and I think Miami takes it.
This game's on NBA TV too.
Oh
Yeah.
my God! Did they do this
bro,
again?
Miami's just relentless on the defense. I was talking about how KD was dealing with hell. Trae Young is literally in the pit of hell when he's bringing the ball up court. He's getting switched on by Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler.
Bro, ready for it? 20 for 57 from the floor, 7 for 33 from 3-point.
Yeah, they're
24
absolutely
assists,
they're
24
He's having
turnovers.
himself a awful
They're
season.
ruining his life. Like I said, they have Bam Adebayo pressing him full court, and then once he beats that press, it's Jimmy Butler's waiting for him at half court. They're just unrelenting on defense. My boy Spo, I sent you the clip. Rob, did you see it?
I hope not.
Did you see it on Instagram?
I don't think so. No.
I sent you a clip, and it's literally highlighting of what I just said, and it's like highlights of Trae Young just getting terrorized with or without the ball. Miami Heat's team defense is so good. They're going to be a real hard team to beat regardless of who you are. East, West, Miami, man, they might be the favorite because of the way they play defense. And there is no one guy that you're looking at as, I guess you could say it's Jimmy Butler. He's not really the best shooter, but they just dish it around. Good team basketball. I want to see a Heat Celtics series really bad.
Yeah, I think that would be a good
That's
one.
probably where it's
Good
gonna
one.
end
What
up,
else we got
right?
on the docket tonight?
Yeah.
We got yes. Okay. So the Pelicans even the series last. This one's the most interesting because
Yes.
now the Suns are in complete. I think they're in shock right now that this is happening to them, and now they have no Devin Booker. So now the Pelicans. I mean, look, they got a legitimate chance now. They got some players all of a sudden that are going crazy. And just so you know, Kyle, coming in, 94% of the money is on the Miami Heat. So that is a lot of people are saying they're just going to put them away and it's going to be over. But this series in particular is probably the most interesting one because the Pelicans don't have like McCollum.
CJ McCollum.
He is playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
And the Zion experiment is over. So he's going to be moved out. Now that they see what they can do without this guy, he's out. They're going to get capital for him.
I
It's going
think
to
the
be great.
series would potentially be over if Devin Booker didn't get injured.
But he did.
He did.
You know what I mean? And,
So
and
I
that's
think
the name
that
of the game.
they still are some players away. A healthy Zion would definitely make them a better team. So I don't know that we're going to go ahead and say it's over yet, but
I'm not saying it's over.
writing
I'm just
is on
saying
the
they're
wall.
struggling
I
here.
can't imagine them actually trading Zion though. What's the stock? The reason why it's hard for me to just come to that realization is because they've done nothing but say how injured he's been.
Yeah, got a question here. Since Boston put on a clinic defensively in the first round, do you have them as favorites to win the East, or can Miami or the Bucks stop them? You think the Celtics have a
I think
chance
right
in the
now,
East?
the Celtics should be the.
Thank you for the
favorites.
comment and the
The
question,
way they
Ryan.
beat up on the Nets, the Celtics optics, they're a really good basketball team. Jason Tatum is looking like he's the star of the Eastern Conference right now. That said, Miami Heat's team basketball is Miami Heat, the way they're playing defense, I'm not going to count them out. That will be a amazing series to watch.
Yeah.
Talk about 80s, 90s basketball.
Yeah,
there you
for
have
real.
It.
That's
there you have it.
Yeah.
Gets me excited.
Gets me excited too. I'll be watching the Phoenix Suns also with the Pelicans tonight. And then we round out the night with my boy John Moran, who, by the way, unexpectedly won
just to
the
touch on
most improved player.
I want to touch on the second part of that question real quick. I do not think the Bucks have what it takes anymore watching them play. And Kyle's been right all along about their perimeter defense is just too poor.
With Middleton out, too?
With Middleton out, Mr. Mid-Range himself.
So Boston has themselves a decent shot to take the East.
And Philly's got a little chink in their armor as well. So, yeah.
Nick Shine says, trade Simmons for Zion. Neither can play. Zion's wardrobe is just easier on the eyes on the bench.
I like that. Nick Shine, we got along so well, and I was the first one to say, like, you know, the Knicks and the Nets have the same amount of playoff wins, and he said we were getting along so well.
Brandon Ingram, another one for the Pelicans, according to Kyle. Last 3 games, 34, 30, and 37.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But the end of the game, John Morant wins most improved player.
It's a good thing now, what did Anthony Davis for Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, fucking
half the team.
What a fleecing that was,
bro. They listed all the Lakers that LeBron traded.
It's crazy,
away and all the 2 that they
it's
got.
insane.
Scoop saying Bucks to finals confirmed. I guess because we're all writing off
this
the
is
Bucks.
About what
Listen, I
happened
picked the Bucks to go.
Last year I was on the Bucks trains. Giannis got hurt in the postseason, missed a couple games, and we did.
But Middleton went absolutely nuts.
We did the same thing. We were like, oh, that's it.
Yeah,
The
and they
Bucks
weathered the storm.
They win the fucking finals.
What did John Morant say about the most improved
player of the year, but sends the award to teammate Desmond Bane? I guess because he thinks he's the most improved player.
Humble.
Literally sends the whole box, everything to the guy's house. He opens it up and he's like, send this back to 12, man. This is his word. But he sent it to him saying, no, man, you're the most improved player, not
Give
me.
me Memphis in the West.
I
like
love
that's
it.
a great team, and that's a great teammate. But they're gonna be able to. Can they finish this now? No, not game. Yeah, they can. They're not 2-2, right?
Solidifies my John Morant fanhood because we were talking about it yesterday or all week. Nobody believes that John Morant's the most improved player because I think he was a star in this league already. I think he was the biggest snub in the All-Star game last year, and
I mean, look, he was in the MVP conversation.
He's in the MVP conversation. He was improved, but that's the progression you would expect to see a second pick overall make in year 3.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, that's the NBA docket. And before we get to our guest, I do have to ask you a question, Gooch.
Yeah.
Are you worried that you'll run out of money in retirement? Are you? You probably are, right?
I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to retire, dude.
That's true, too. I think we're going to be doing this show until we're 97 years old, and we're like, I can't believe LeBron is still playing basketball.
Ronnie.
Anyway, if you're worried about your money in retirement or how long, how you'll pay for your long-term care or needed with will your family be okay? I mean, look, if we're family guys, we got to worry about our families, right? Well, guess what? Stop worrying. Start planning. And that's right. Michael Fusco can help you guys. As the president of Fusco Insurance Agency, Michael can work with you to create a comprehensive retirement plan. He'll explore using life insurance and annuities to help you build a more secure future so you can worry less now. Who wants to worry now? Nobody. Call 718-701-5787 to schedule your complimentary consultation. That's on us, folks. Chop Sports is paying for your consultation. Just kidding. He's just doing it for free out of the kindness of his heart. He's a good guy. That's 718-701-5787. The disclosure, of course, guarantees and protections are subject to claims paying ability of the issuing company. Some insurance policies are not available in all states. Fusco Insurance Agency.com. Go check him out. And I talked to Mike yesterday, and he was crunched for time, but I definitely want to catch up with him. It's been a while. But anyway, so we definitely are excited about Fusco's newest.
Yes.
But by the way, we also have to take care of other members of our families, and we're talking about our balls.
Spring has officially sprung. You know what that means. It's swamp ass season. So if you want to give your ladies a nice butt crack snack, you're going to want to make sure that your ass crack is nice.
Holy shit,
clean,
a butt crack snack.
Right? You don't want that grundle going on. She doesn't want to, she's not looking to floss down there, boys.
Lord.
She's looking to eat a nice little meal. So make sure your butt crack is nice and clean. It works on the balls. It reduces the risk of nicks and cuts. You could even do around your titties. You could put shapes. You could draw an arrow in your gut hair. All those good things with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. It comes equipped with the LED 400K LED Lawnmower 4.0. It has the Plow 2.0 razor for your face. It has the Weed whacker ear and nose hair trimmer.
You
It
nailed
also-
this. You don't have a read in front
No,
of you
I do not.
anymore. This is great.
It also has the butt crack lather and asshole cream. Now we know that that's not what it's actually called, but it does come with 2 elixirs that if you mix them together, it
Elixirs.
becomes 1 elixir.
We have the anecdote, ladies and gentlemen.
And yes,
Oh my God.
I would recommend, ladies, though,
Bro,
don't
butt cracks.
don't go for your butt crack snack.
I'm sorry. that's
Don't
a
go for your
man.
butt crack snack after they lather up with this elixir because
Oh.
it might have a little bad taste to it. Doesn't taste like copper, like a penny, which
I was
if you
told
know,
that
you know.
once upon a time. If you know, you know.
So
I
yeah,
can't- we can't
go
do
over to
this anymore.
manscaped.com, use the promo code CHOPSPORTS, you get 20% off
Canceled.
the performance package.
All right,
4.0.
that's perfect.
And also make sure you massage your balls later and make sure there's no lumps because
Yes.
April is Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, and we need to make sure that we give out these butt crack snacks for years to come.
Dude, that might have been the best one you've ever done. Bravo, take a bow. And even look, guys that I don't even know, but Ryan coming in, butt crack snack. Like that is the new and hashtag butt crack snack. So therefore, there is your word of the day, folks. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we bring in our guests. So get ready for the chat. I'll bring them in. You bring on the Connor interview graphic. You could bring that up right now. Whatchamacallit? There you go. Bing, bang, boom. There's my guy. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a draft expert. Okay. I don't care what anybody says. Are you rocking a mullet nowadays, bro?
Got a little bit of one going.
That a boy. Yeah, I'm excited about this. He is a member of the bloggingtheboys.com army. He also does his own podcast. He does his own writing, and he spent like 3 years on this draft prep. He's got a guide available right now. He's wearing a badass Dallas hat, by the way. You can find that. Benito is representing that one. Connor Livesay, what's going on, brother?
It's going. I don't even know how to follow up after the Manscaped. That was
It's a common
impressive.
theme here. We
We do the
Manscaped
reads
read.
right before our guests, just so they're very uncomfortable when they're joining us.
No, honestly, it lightens it up a little bit.
It does. It does.
I loved
So-
it. Loved it.
Yeah. So anyway, it is obviously the greatest time of the year for guys like yourself. You know, you've been prepping for this for so long. I actually told Gooch about you a little bit, and I said, look, he's not your prototypical Cowboys
it was
guy.
fucking adorable.
I was
dude.
like,
You
he's
should have
not your
heard
Cowboys
the
guy
things
to
he had say.
the point where like, oh, the Cowboys are the best. They do the best. They always do the best. I was like, Connor's
Right.
actually the opposite of all of that. He's one of the Cowboy haters. No, I'm kidding.
No, you got to be critical.
gotta
of
be
your
critical.
Team. You
I-
got to look at it from like as if you were the GM. What would you
Right.
do?
Yes, yes. So obviously, I got your guide, okay, and thank you for that because times are tough nowadays, and I can't afford the $5. No, I'm kidding. But you have a beautiful guide laid out here. You spent all this time on it, guys. If you want, check that out. You can follow him on whatchamacallit at
Twitter.
Connor. Twitter. It's at Connor Draft, right?
Yeah, Connor NFL draft.
Connor NFL Draft. Perfect.
Yeah.
So you can buy that. So we did our Chop Sports mock draft last night. So what we had was we had myself and Gooch were here. And of course, Rob was in the background. We had Officer Chris Payne, New York finest. He was here as well, helping out the Jets picks. We had some of the fans of these teams make the picks. Now, I was referring to your mock draft the entire night, like saying like, okay, well, this wasn't, I basically,
He used yours as a critique to say, oh, well, that might have been a reach. So
right, and only
Right.
based off yours. So I do want to go over this mock draft, and I want you to tear it to shreds. But before I do that, I got a couple questions for you.
All right.
Based off your mock draft and based off ours, you know what? Let's go through the mock draft because the questions will be literally littered within the mock draft. There was a surprise at pick number 1, Connor, okay? The Jaguars, in which I'm just referencing your pick here. You have the Jaguars taking Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher out of Michigan.
Right.
The Jaguars representative came in here yesterday.
he's a Jaguars.
He's a
fan,
Jaguars
mind
fan, so like he wants instead of rushing the quarterback, he wants to protect Trevor Lawrence. Okay, so he's going Ikem Ekwonu. Okay.
Okay.
Do you agree with? Is there a legitimate possibility that they kind of not shock everybody, but at least kind of flip this on its ear right away?
I mean, it almost kind of seems like that's the direction they're going now, which is away from what I'd have them doing. But it's been a lot of Trayvon Walker and then Akeem Ekwonu talk here recently. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they decide to go Ekwonu because they don't have, they franchise tag Cam Robinson. He's going to be their left tackle. Jawan Taylor out of Florida. He's a couple years in his NFL career, but he's at right tackle and he's kind of struggled. He's one of those second-round right tackles that everybody hopes that they'll draft and they'll work out, but he hasn't really worked out a ton there. They drafted Walker Little last year, and it hasn't been great. So I could see them drafting Ekwonu there and just really shoring up the offensive line. And Ekwonu could be a really good guard too. So they have a lot of bodies at offensive tackle, but they don't really have that second guy that stepped up to step in and play right tackle alongside Cam Robinson. So they could draft Ekwonu and just really look to bolster that offensive line and really add good depth to it. If, Walker Little emerges as a starting right tackle, they could put him at right tackle and Ekwonu at guard. And again, it's, Robinson's on a 1-year deal right now with the franchise tag. So they could always, have it play out that way for a year and then have Ekwonu take over at left tackle next year. So wouldn't surprise me. I still think they probably go edge rusher, whether it's Hutchinson or Walker. But I mean, Doug Peterson won the Super Bowl with Lane Johnson, with Jason Kelsey, all those guys on the offensive line. So I think they could look at doing that similar style with Jason Peters and Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson in Philadelphia, and now try to build up that offensive line in Jacksonville to help protect Lawrence.
It's a good point.
And they drafted the quarterback first.
Did you hear
overall.
all that?
Drafted the quarterback first overall. It makes sense. And you mentioned the right tackle. Typically, the next step in a right tackle's career that's a guy that's struggling is they would shift him to guard first. So it makes sense. I think they should take the tackle because I think there's a premium at edge. They pick a high in the second round. They'll be able to get a guy that they need there. But my question is, look, without getting too far ahead, we had the Texans taking Trayvon Walker at 13 overall, which to me, as he was making that pick, I think it was one of those guys that everyone either A, forgot about, or B, just nobody really believes because he's such a late riser in this whole draft process. Do you think there's a real possibility that he actually leapfrogged?
Is he the minus 200 favorite now?
Yeah.
He's the minus 200 favorite according to all the betting sites. So are you hearing whispers about that?
No, I mean, I think that I think 2 weeks ago, I bet, 65% that Aiden Hutchinson would have went number one. But I mean, I think you could probably go 33 with Trayvon Walker or Akeem Ekwonu and Aiden Hutchinson. It's
Wow.
So
and it wouldn't surprise me if Hutchinson or Ekwonu, Walker or Ekwonu go over Hutchinson, just because, we've heard it all this draft season, but Hutchinson's more of the safer, maybe not the higher ceiling player, but the safer floor. And if you're drafting number one and you got a guy like Trayvon Walker, who's just, a freak athlete, Akeem Ekwonu is also a really good athlete. You could just go for the higher ceiling player there for Jacksonville, who already has bodies on the offensive line. And then they have good pass rushers. They drafted a pass rusher a couple of years ago in Kayvon Chason, who hasn't done great so far.
Linked to the Cowboys. Linked to the Cowboys for a little while, yeah.
Little work in progress there, but Josh Allen's a stud. He's a stud for them. So they could just go for the higher ceiling player, which doesn't necessarily mean they're reaching, but they might just view that potential production, that potential projection as more of a sure thing than the safe player.
Now you got the Detroit Lions coming up number 2. Now, do you think we had a Detroit, not a fan, but at least a Michigan fan do this pick. So obviously staying home, is this a situation where the Lions kind of run up to the podium right now and snag their Michigan native here?
I would think so. I mean, if he doesn't go on, it's just, I don't even see how he could definitely go to, definitely not go to, I should say. It's just, if Hutchinson's still on the board at 2, he played at Michigan, Dan Campbell just probably eats up his workouts, his interviews. He's just a Dan Campbell type of guy. So I would be shocked if he wasn't the pick at 2, if he isn't the pick at 1.
It would be crazy to me if the Jags did end up going tackle to start things off, and then the Lions are left with a choice between picking the local guy and picking the potential higher ceiling guy, and they actually passed up on Hutchinson. That would be very Lions.
That would throw the first few picks into a mess, because we've all kind of had Hutchinson penciled in there, and we've all had Ekwonu kind of is the guy that if they don't go Hutchinson, they probably go Ekwonu. But if it goes and Hutchinson isn't there, it doesn't go in the first 2 picks, then who knows what could happen from that point on, because it could get crazy.
For the Lions, I feel like if Hutchinson's there, they have to. Like, it's almost be a no-brainer.
Yeah,
ticket sales,
we got somebody coming in.
Yeah,
somebody coming in the comments. Mike Salerno, he's a Michigan guy. He said the Lions 2022 merchandise sales would be through the roof if they get a Hutchinson jersey on the shelf, and I agree with that. So that seems like the logical thing. Number 3, the Houston Texans. They need a lot of work. Obviously, you have them taking Evan Neal to work on their offensive line. In this mock draft, Evan Neal falls a couple spots, and the Texans try to make the big splash and grab the best cornerback in the draft in Sauce Gardner. Can you see this happening?
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because I think you could see a corner go 2 as well if Hutchinson does go 1. I mean,
Wow.
the Lions are pretty good at tackle right now. They drafted Penei Sewell a couple years ago. They have a good right tackle too, so it's not like they're desperate in need of protection up front. So they could go pass rush, if Trayvon Walker's still there, or if Aiden Hutchinson somehow is there, or they could look and do one of those corners, whether it's Derek Stingley, which I know for a while he was falling a bit, but I think his workout and people kind of finally realized, okay, yeah, he hasn't had great tape over the last 2 years. He's been banged up, but if he's healthy, he's the real deal. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Stingley or Sauce Gardner are the pick at 2.
I like
Who
it.
do you feel?
Three,
Who do you
excuse me.
feel is the bigger? Who has the bigger ceiling? Singletary or Sauce Gardner?
Stingley.
Or Stingley.
Stingley or Sauce Gardner.
Stingley for sure. I mean, it and not to say that Sauce Gardner doesn't have a high ceiling, but I mean, Stingley's just a freak athlete. I mean, his athleticism just showed up on tape in 2019 easily, and he's not the biggest dude. He's not the longest guy, but I mean, his speed and movement patterns and skills is just it's really fun to watch, which is why he's still being talked about as a guy who could go top 10, because the tape the last 2 years hasn't been good. He has injuries, and the only reason he's still in that discussion is because of how good of an athlete he is and how high his ceiling could be if he does stay healthy and reach it.
I hear that. Now, look, there's going to be a lot of people on the edge of their seats right now because there's a lot of Jets representation here. And it looks like Ryan coming in with a comment here saying Jets have the longest active streak of missing the postseason. They can really turn this around with the 4th and 10th pick. Now, in your mock draft, just so happens that you nail the same thing that they did over here, and the pick is Kayvon Thibodeau. Is that the clear cut? The edge rusher is the guy that goes to the New York Jets and changes the landscape of that defensive line.
I mean, it could be. I think it's one. I think they take the top-rated edge on their board, whether that's if Thibodeau somehow goes in front of Hutchinson's still there, whatever it is. Again, we just talked about how the draft could kind of go crazy this year in the top 3 or 4 picks, but I think they take whatever that top-graded edge rusher is at 4, because their receiver options are still going to be really good there at 10. So I think they're not going to feel the need to draft a receiver at 4 and then see what edge is there at 10. I think they'll take that top-rated edge because Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, and Kayvon Thibodeau are all graded pretty similar. They can take a guy, the 3rd edge rusher, and still feel really good about that, and then possibly get the 1st or 2nd receiver at 10. I would like Thibodeau a ton in New York. I mean, I think with Quinnen Williams, with John Franklin Myers, they have some, really talented guys up front there. So if they can put a Thibodeau with some of those, front 7 defenders and then get a receiver at 10, that'd be a great haul for them.
Another resident Jets fan coming in asking, is there any steam to Jermaine Johnson over Tibbs?
No, I think, I mean, I'm not saying it won't happen because we've seen stuff like that happen all the time, but I think the Jermaine Johnson hype might be, not all the way blown out, but it's kind of getting back to where I think it needs to be. I know a lot of people talked about him being like a top 10 lock for a long time, and I have him graded he's like my last 1st round grade, so he's like 21, I think.
Wow,
I like
okay.
Jermaine Johnson, but I still think there's some things that he has to improve on and play with more consistency. And I think there's a pretty large gap between Hutchinson, Walker, Thibodeau, and then your Jermaine Johnsons and George Karlaftis and those guys.
That's my question. So if the draft starts off with the Jags taking Walker, Lions taking Hutchinson, Texans take Thibodeau, right? Do the Jets reach here on a corner, or do we go for Jermaine Johnson?
I don't think the Jets are taking a corner.
No, I don't think
If the 3 edge guys comes off the board, we're not going to take a wide receiver at 4.
I would take him. I would take Gardner there.
Sauce Gardner at 4.
Yeah, if the 3 edges are gone, if you're telling me that Thibodeau, Hutchinson, and Walker are gone, and I mean, again, they could go tackle too, because there's a lot of talk about Mekhi Becton not really working out there, and they could be potentially trying to move him, whatever that is. But I think that if it would come down then to, do they like the tackle or do they like the corner more? I mean, I don't think
I think the Jets are taking a hog or a guy that's playing up front on the defense.
If
one
they
way
take
or
a
the
tackle,
other, Robert Saleh wants one of his wants something that he could play with. I don't think it's going to be Sauce Gardner.
We'll see. Based off of how it plays out, you know what I mean? We'll see who's on the board. The ever so hated New York Football Giants come up off the next pick, and I just say that based off Cowboys fans and yourself, Connor. But the Giants, they have many things to address on this team, but offensive line, protecting their I guess, quote, franchise quarterback in Daniel Jones. The pick on your end is the guy who went number 1 overall. So you went with Ekwonu at the Giants pick. We have Evan Neal over here. Do you think that's where the Giants go no matter what? Offensive tackle, obviously the offensive line being addressed?
Yeah, and the only reason I went Evan Neal is because if, let's say, Ekwonu and Evan Neal are still available there when the Giants are on the clock, they like Andrew Thomas a lot at left tackle, so I think it's about finding the right tackle at that point. And Evan Neal has played right tackle at Alabama. He's played left tackle too. I think he's the better right tackle prospect. So for them, I think you're talking about 2 guys who are graded pretty similar, in a similar range. Evan Neal's my number 1 overall player. I just don't think you see guys who are that big, that strong, that athletic, the moves that freely and easy, that plays with the power that he does. So I think he's the best prospect in this draft. But I think for them, again, you got to understand, like when I'm building my board, I'm doing it from a 32 team perspective. So the Giants might look at it and go, hey, right tackle's a bigger need for us. We've seen this guy play really good at right tackle. We're going to have him as a higher grade than Akeem Ekwonu. So They might view Evan Neal as the better player, even though I could look at it as, okay, this guy's a better left tackle. It's the way I do it based on what teams do, based on their needs and their prototypes and all that. I like Evan Neal a lot. Like I said, I think he can play left tackle or right tackle. For the Giants, it just made a ton of sense because they seem to really like Andrew Thomas at left tackle. And then they would get the top graded offensive line on my board that could also be their top rated right tackle.
All right, cool. Now, this was interesting because we got to the 6th pick and it was the Carolina Panthers, and we didn't have a Panthers rep. So what we did was I picked one, he picked one, and then we had the voice you're hearing. That's our boy Rob. He kind of like split the difference and went with somebody. So in this draft, it's Malik Willis. In your draft, it's Kenny Pickett. Who's the better quarterback prospect here if the Carolina Panthers go here? Is it to your knowledge and to your understanding, Kenny Pickett's the most NFL ready? Is that why you have him here?
Malik Willis is my highest graded quarterback. Kenny Pickett's probably the most ready, but mainly it's just the ties. I mean, Matt Rule recruited Kenny Pickett at Temple when he was at Temple. And then, with the just relationship he has with Kenny Pickett and needing a guy to play probably sooner than 2 or 3 years down the road, which is more than likely what Malik Willis is going to be looking at doing. I think that just made more sense for them, even though, again, Malik Willis's ceiling is extremely high. He's a great athlete. He's a good runner. He has insane arm talent, but he's going to need at least a year, I think, to sit behind somebody and really grow and develop. And just in quicker, he's got to process things quicker. He's got to see the field better. He's got to learn to go through his progressions better. And he's a smaller guy that I think you do have some concerns of the injury stuff cropping up. But for the ties and the relationship that Matt Rule has with Kenny Pickett, I would think that if they do go quarterback, I think Kenny Pickett makes just a little bit more sense for the Panthers.
And according to our resident hedger, handicapper, better guy, our boy, the sauce, Kyle Kerms, coming in saying that Kenny Pickett is actually plus 150 to be the first quarterback drafted. So that's some plus money over there. And if everything you're saying is true as far as the relationship he has with Rule and stuff, that's a very good possibility. And I like that pick there.
Mike Salerno coming in. Is there any value to taking a wide receiver here if they don't love any of the QBs?
Considering they really hit a home run with Tony last year, so I'm sure. No, I'm not.
No, this is for the Panthers.
The Giants. No, the Giants are next. But
DJ Moore is one of my
DJ Moore is one of the guys in this league. Is there value in doing that? But then you're stuck there with Sam Darnold or a possible.
They also don't pick again until like 80
4th round. Yeah, so that was going to be my question to you. Is I saw reports this morning saying that they might move back because they don't have a pick again to like 137.
Yeah,
so
I think they'd like to
that
move
much.
back. I think they'd like to move back, but I just don't know if anybody's going to be interested in moving up.
Yeah, there's not that
going to be a lot of
quarterback where you're going to see a bunch of teams jumping up to get the receivers. There's a ton of them. So even at this point, there's the best one available. So if there's a team that really covets a specific wideout, I think that's their best bet.
How about if like Thibodeau or Sauce Gardner or even Walker sitting there at 6th? You don't see anybody jumping up. Maybe the Patriots or don't they have 2 picks? The Eagles have a couple picks.
The Patriots are more liable to trade out than up.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could see a team move up for, let's just say, Akeem Ekwonu is still there at 6, and
I could see
Carolina
the Chiefs
needs
moving up.
offensive line help, so you'd think they'd probably sit there and draft him, but I mean, for me, it would be, an Akeem Aquanu still being there, possibly a Sauce Gardner. I could see a team moving up for a corner because you kind of got Stingley and Gardner, and then there's some health questions with some of those next guys, some arm length and size questions with some of the other guys. So I could see a team moving up for, one of those top 3 edge rushers, one of those top corners, or Akeem Aquanu or Evan Neal if they're there. But I think a lot of teams, there's so many consolation prizes this year where you just don't need to give up the capital because you can sit and pick that second or third guy and still feel really good about him. There's just not a lot of blue chip at the top of this draft.
Right. Might take some of the leverage away from some of these teams that are picking, and you might see some of these picks get traded for less in return because Carolina really is desperate. They're not one pick away. Right. If they're planning on picking a quarterback, you're looking at the Chiefs. They need a wideout. They have a lot of draft capital at the back of the first round. They also have 2 second-round picks. I could see the Chiefs maybe moving up to get a stud wideout and paying him on a rookie salary rather than – but like I said, like you were saying, I just don't know that even the Chiefs still might not have the capital because it's a back end of the first round.
A few questions from the chat here. Ryan coming in saying that the Panthers have a competitive roster outside the quarterback position. They need to nail this. Is there any chance that there's any sense to a Baker Mayfield going to Carolina?
I mean, I would trade for one of those veterans if I was. I mean, they don't have a lot of capital, so it'd have to be a 2023 draft pick. I mean, you're not going to give up 6 for any of those guys. But
correct.
I mean, you got plenty of cap space. You have no draft capital this year. Sam Darnold's your quarterback, so if you don't love Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis, then you draft the offensive tackle or corner there, and then you float a third round pick next year for Baker.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
See, I don't even think third for Baker is worth it.
I don't either.
I don't either. I mean, I
mean, next year's. I would do next year's third for Baker.
I guess, but then you're pretty much handcuffing yourself with that new contract situation with Baker as well, where he's going to want to get his option picked up, and now he wants to get paid. He does not. He hasn't done anything in my eyes to deserve a big time deal.
I don't think so either.
But there's definitely none of these quarterbacks on this draft that I could see Carolina stepping in.
I'd much rather kick the tires on Jimmy G because he's already on his second deal and he's kind of established as to what kind of player he is in the league. I don't think he has these aspirations to be a top 10 guy where Baker still thinks he's
Cat's pajamas. Question from the chat here, and this is a gambling question, of course. Question for Connor. Under 2.5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round at plus 190. Does Matt Corral make the first round? And based off of your mock, I saw obviously Willis goes later.
I had 3 guys, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think it was Ritter at 32.
Oh, you have Ritter at that 32 to the Lions.
Matt Corral's being invited to the draft too. I don't know if everybody knows this.
Man.
So he's being invited. So how long is he going to sit in that green room for?
3 days. 3 days.
What do you think? So 2.5 quarterbacks. You have 3. So you're saying slap the over?
I think there's a good chance 3 goes. I mean, I think Carolina. I mean, it's still 50-50 for me. It's just tough because if Carolina doesn't go quarterback, it could be 20 until the first quarterback.
If he's saying it's 50-50, Kyle, then I'm saying that the math is on the side of betting the under because it's plus 190. So 50.
I would agree. I mean, like I said, it starts with Carolina there because if Carolina goes quarterback, I'd say for sure. I think 3 go because I think that Detroit will probably take one at 32. But if Carolina doesn't go to quarterback,
and then
I mean, you're looking at Pittsburgh at 20. That's probably the first team that then would take one. I don't think the Saints are going to be.
I was just going to say in our mock draft, and we'll skip around a little bit for the sake of time. But Kenny Pickett is drafted 19th to the Saints in this draft. So you don't think the Saints will try to make a quarterback play here?
I don't. I still think the Saints are going to move up again using those. I think they might trade those 2 first-round picks to possibly move up for a tackle. I think that's maybe their plan all around is, hey, let's get up and then trade, 16 and 19 or something like that, 16 and 19 to get up to 6.
18, I think.
Yeah, okay. So whatever those picks are, I think that they could look to make another move up for an offensive tackle. I don't think it would be – I mean, it would be crazy for them to trade up that much capital for one of the quarterbacks this year, in my opinion. But
all right, so according to your mock draft, the first receiver that goes off the board is Drake London at 10 to the Jets. Do you still feel that way?
I think so. I mean, he's my wide receiver 5. So if it was me drafting, I would not take Drake London first. But I mean, the Jets they kind of have their Garrett Wilson and Chris, like they have that guy in Elijah Moore to a certain extent. I mean, different players, but very similar body types, very similar explosiveness, speed. They need that big body possession guy that can catch the balls over the middle, stretch the field, and take some of that pressure off of Elijah Moore with some size, contested catchability, and just do some more things, in the red zone. Because, I mean, Elijah Moore had a great rookie season, but I think as a smaller, undersized, explosive athlete, there'll be ways that defenses can kind of limit his impact. We've seen that with some of these smaller guys that can't really win as a route runner on the outside consistently. So I think getting a guy like Drake London would take some pressure off of him and give them a different body type and style of receiver to help Zach Wilson out.
All right. So I have a question, only because I know that we got Ibby probably listening and he's the Falcons fan. And I know we skipped ahead of 8 and we're talking about wide receivers. We have in this mock, we have Jameson Williams going 8 overall to the Falcons, and Ibby made the pick himself. He's a Falcons fan, so I know that's what he wants to do.
Is that an absolute need considering? Considering the way they lost?
The Falcons need a lot.
Yes.
Receiver is a definite need for them because Calvin Ridley's situation, and I think he's on his way out anyway. But you said you have Drake London as your 5th. Where do you put Jameson Williams?
I have it. I think he's my 3rd guy. As I pull up my board, I want to say he is my wide receiver 3 because I want to say it's Garrett Wilson. I think I have a Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and then
you have him as 3. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And again, if he didn't have the late season ACL, I'd probably have him at 2. The just deciding factor there is how much of training camp is he going to miss? How much of the start of the season is he going to miss? And the bad thing for Jameson Williams is a lot of these teams that need receivers early, like the Jets, like the Giants, like some of these teams who could be drafting receivers in the top 15 or 20, they got young quarterbacks who probably need that training camp with that number 1 guy to really build a relationship and build that, feel with. So I think that if you got a young quarterback and then you drop in a young receiver that's probably not going to do a ton in training camp and preseason, it just sets yourself up for a bumpy year 1, which again, you're drafting these guys for 5, 6, 7 years down the road. So don't let year 1 scare you away from year 5. But I just think for Zach Wilson, if you drop in Jameson Williams, who doesn't do anything for the first 4 or 5 months of his career, is that really going to help him out? And I think they're trying to see what they have in him, try to turn it around a little bit quicker than that. So
I have a question based off of, again, this mock draft. One very, very big separation is the guy that was drafted in our draft at 18 to the Eagles. You don't have him moved until the 31st pick to the Bengals. Nakobe Dean, tell me something about him that you're not liking, the fact that he falls this long.
I love Nakobe Dean. Like I said, I do. When I did that mock, I want to say it's not, hey, this is what I would do. It's like, hey, this is what I think is going to happen in the first round. And it just sounds like the NFL is scared of Nakobe Dean's size, and he didn't test it all this year. He had a banged up. I think he had a banged up knee, is what he told me when I interviewed him the other day. But he had some injuries that didn't allow him to test this year. So he's a small, banged up middle linebacker, inside linebacker that I think teams are really going to spend a top 20 pick on a guy who we don't really know how fast he is. We don't really know how much he can bench. We don't really know his agility. But you turn on his tape, and he's one of the best players in this class. He was the best player on the Georgia defense by far. Out of all those Georgia guys, he was the best player. And I don't think it's even a conversation that you can have. Just watching him play, he was the leader of that defense. He was the most talented player on that defense. So for me, I love Nakobe Dean. I mean, I would take him in the top 12 if it was up to me. But I can see where the NFL is going. We don't draft linebackers high. We don't draft small linebackers that high. We don't draft small linebackers that haven't tested and have been banged up that high. So I could see him falling quite a bit, possibly even out of the first round, which I know has been a topic of discussion recently.
Wow.
He's 6 foot 225, very small, very undersized. But like he said, he was the leader of that defense. They would line him up at slot corner, at regular corner. He's making interceptions. He's all over that field.
Yeah,
he's just very undersized. But in the NFL today, you kind of need those linebackers to be like that to stay on these tight ends who are now basically just regular receivers.
He said that we got our buddy Mike, So Amazing Gaming NJ, coming in saying the cons on Dean is that he struggles to shed blocks in space, the ability to finish versus the bigger linemen. So that could be a knock on his game. He is undersized, as we just said, right? I mean,
I don't even think that's a struggle of his, because he didn't get himself in that situation a ton of times because of his instincts. Like he's able to beat linemen to space so many times that, again, he's a smaller guy. So if you get, chest to chest with the 325-pound lineman, you're probably going to lose that battle.
In the NFL, he's going to get blocked sometimes. That
right.
happens.
It just so happens that the NFL guys know how to block. Imagine that. All right, a couple more questions on the home front. And when I say home front, I mean my squad, his squad. We got some questions, obviously. So the Dallas Cowboys, are they before the Packers? No, then you know what? We have to start with the Packers then, because they're before.
So I'm just going to cover
this. Now listen, of it. Just so you know, based off of your mock last night, it lines up with his.
Really?
It does.
All right. So I took Treylon Burks. I didn't even read yours before I did mine. So now I know that I'm a smart guy, because you sound like you know what you're talking about. So my question is, with the Packers needing a receiver, they have an obvious need at receiver. They also have a need at tight end. Do you think there's a chance that they package a first and a second to move up higher to get one of the receivers? Or do you think that a Treylon Burks is good enough and will fall to them at 22?
I think they'll sit and pick, just because, they haven't been a team that's drafted receiver a ton in the first round anyways. And I don't
haven't had to.
They kind of have to this year, you would think, even though I still wouldn't be shocked if they didn't, because there could be a situation where they have a really good defense. If Jordan Davis is somehow there, Devontae Wyatt's still somehow there, maybe they go, look, this guy's too good to pass up.
And they have the luxury of being able to pick in 5 picks.
Right. So you can kind of wait and see who's the best player available there. Here, the only bad thing is a lot of those teams slammed in between them also.
Have the
receivers. So, but yeah, I think Treylon Burks in that offense would be a ton of fun. He's not Devontae Adams by any means. He's pretty raw as a route runner. His route tree's pretty limited, but that's mainly because of what he was asked to do at Arkansas. But you talk about a guy that you can run those, hot slants and hot screens with Aaron Rodgers and break tackles and so
now my question is this, because I've always had this thing about route running and he doesn't run the entire route tree. I've struggled with that, because I really do feel like that is a lot of scheme in the NFL and in college especially, where I feel like with the athleticism that Treylon Burks has, to say that he doesn't have the complete route tree, is it because he's just taking false steps? What would you say the reason behind that analysis comes from? Because I just don't see it with a lot of these guys.
He's 200. He played at like 233 pounds, so he's just a big
boy. It's a big boy.
He isn't the most flexible. He isn't the most loose, sudden athlete. So coming in and out of those sharp breaks is a little stiff for him, because he's 6'2", 232 pounds.
Big receivers too. So
yeah. But again, the simple slants, the simple, deep post and corner routes and stuff like that, he's fine at. It's just you can't expect him to come out and just dominate as a route runner right away, just because you don't see 232-pound dudes just.
Who would you say is the best route runner in this class? Olave?
Chris Olave. Yep.
Yeah, that's the guy that I would really like. I did pick Treylon Burks over him yesterday, but
now this lies the $1 million question, Connor, and this is the one that's been petrifying me, keeping me up at night for the last couple of weeks here. So you have the Dallas Cowboys taking Zion Johnson. Okay, last night I drafted Kenyon Green. So we're both in the mindset of an offensive lineman. They need the interior help like nobody else, right? Like Connor Williams was obviously the experiment for a couple of years and it just didn't work out, right? I don't know if you were one of his stands, but I sure as hell wasn't, right? Good for him, right? Great story, great kid. Sorry, nice to see you. So we both have offensive linemen. However, we know who Jerry is.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
We know who Steven is, okay? And now we know that their salary cap stuff is just, it's nauseating at this point. If a Chris Olave is chilling there at 24, are the Dallas Cowboys going to try to make a splash at receiver and not replace Amari Cooper, because I think you just by default move everybody up one? I think CeeDee Lamb, when they drafted him, I said he's going to be the number one within the first couple years of his career. I was even calling for it this year when Amari Cooper was on the team. Obviously, he regressed a little bit. Do the Cowboys make a splash, or are we staying safe and grabbing that offensive lineman that we absolutely need?
They brought in all the top receivers on 30 visits, so I think that tells you that they're not going to go that direction. They brought in Olave, they brought in Wilson. I think they brought in Jameson Williams too, brought in Drake London. So they brought in 3 or 4 of those Treylon Burks. So they brought in 4 or 5 of the top 5 or 6 receivers. So I think that kind of and they didn't bring in any of the second round receivers or second round offensive linemen outside of the UNC offensive lineman, who's probably a 3rd round pick, not a 2nd round pick. But I mean, I think that tells you a lot, is kind of telling you, hey, if it's probably a CD Lamb situation, that if Olave's there, if Garrett Wilson's there, if Jameson Williams is somehow there, I don't think Drake London makes a ton of sense for them.
Make it past Green Bay if they're on the board. Personally, I just can't see it happening. But if there's 2 of those names there when Green Bay is picking, because there's, like you were saying, like the top hat, we don't know which team needs what. There's a lot of slot guys. There's some outside guys. There's injury situations.
Right.
I just can't see either of these guys getting past.
No, I'm just saying, if they're there, you do think it's an absolute possibility that the Cowboys make a splash like they did with CeeDee Lamb.
I think Arizona is going to draft an interior offensive lineman right in front of Dallas at 23. So if Arizona drafts their guy, and let's just say Zion Johnson's their guy, and Kenyon Green and Chris Olave are available at 24, I think they would go Chris Olave.
Oh my God. But I mean, look, there are guys you can address in the 2nd, 3rd round.
Low-key Dave is completely rooting for Chris Olave.
I mean, look,
there's like a small part of him that's like, yeah, we need offensive line, but I want my toy.
When they drafted CeeDee Lamb, I fell over myself. Physically fell over the little snack table that I had in front of me. I was like, oh my God, right? They did it. Will I do that this year with a Chris Olave pick? Probably not. I will be excited if they pick another receiver for Dak, right? And that's fine. But I really, truly think if they want to get Zeke in this running game going again, they got to bolster up that offensive line. And I'm talking like, we're one bad blow of the wind away from Tyron Smith getting hurt again, and I like the guy and I love him for the leadership that he brings, but he's big tree fall hard mentality. The guy goes down with a stinger every 3rd day of the week. It's alarming. My other Cowboy question, if they don't do Olave, would you or would you not kick the tires on John Mechie III in the 2nd round?
Yeah, I mean, I like Mechie a lot. I know
I do too, but you got to wonder about the
simulators and everything, and he's still available in the 3rd round, and people are like, oh, I'll just wait and get him. But I mean, I think John Mechie's going to go around the top 60. So whether that's right in front of Dallas, right after Dallas, I think that's going to be his value, is right around that top 60, 65. I mean, I'd be fine with John Mechie at 56 for sure. I do really like the guard options that should be there in the 2nd round. I mean, you got Darian Kennard out of Kentucky, Dylan Parham out of Memphis, Sean Ryan out of UCLA, Jamari Sawyer out of Georgia. I mean, there's 4 or 5 guys that I really like.
Damn it, he's starting to turn me. He's starting to turn me into if Olave's there, snag him.
So my next question is, out of the Patriots or the Packers, which team is going to draft the next representative of the white wide receivers of America Corporation, and who's going to draft Alec Pierce? Because I feel like this guy's been shooting up the draft boards, and obviously as a Packer fan, I get shades of Jordy Nelson here.
Yep.
And obviously the Patriots fans, they bring a white wide receiver along every couple of years. So who's going to be the
next Wes Welker?
Who's going to be the lucky team to inherit this steal in the 2nd round? Because I
think you just named the 2 that make the most sense, honestly. Yeah. I mean, truthfully.
I like it. All right, couple more before we let you go. And I'm sorry. If you got to go, just tell us, man. I don't want to keep you up. All right. So keep you up as if it's late at night. I know he's got an actual, job to do. So anyway, there's a question that came in from the another Cowboys question. Here's the question I was looking for. Give me one player who's labeled as a 1st round guy that's going to fall out of the 1st round completely, and maybe a surprise 1st round pick.
Matt Corral.
Right.
So he wants a guy who is labeled a 1st round pick who could be there at 2nd, and then a surprise. That's a 2-part question, right?
Yes, yeah. 2-part. Yes.
Okay. I mean, let's the guy we talked about earlier, Treylon Burks. I think he's a guy that we've been talking about for sure is going to go in the 1st round, but I could see teams who. Some of the things we talked about earlier where it's like, okay, what's he going to do in our offense? You compare him to guys like Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown, these bigger, more physical, like after the catch guys. Both of those guys were 2nd round picks, and that's kind of the comp for Treylon Burks is you're bigger, you get the ball in his hands, you let him create after the catch. And I think Treylon Burks should go in the 1st round, but I could see the teams going deep wide receiver class. We're not 100% sold on him as a consistent separator and out route runner. We'll take Sky Moore instead.
And especially
I like Sky
with
Moore.
guys like an Alec Pierce sitting there waiting in the wings with, as a consolation prize, who might end up being a better player anyway.
Right. So Treylon Burks would be my guy who I could see that we've talked about as a first round, pick that could fall out of the first round. And then a surprise first round pick. Is Quay Walker count? I feel like that's been talked about a little bit, but Georgia line. Everybody's been Nakobe Dean for a while, and then it kind of leveled out. But Quay Walker could be the first Georgia linebacker taken. And then I'll give a consolation prize and Nick Benito, the Oklahoma edge. I think he's a guy that not a lot of people are talking about, that he's just got, you look at like the college metrics, the pass rush win rate and the pass rush win rate against, top talent. He's above Aiden Hutchinson. He's above Kayvon Thibodeau. He's above those guys in a lot of that stuff. So I could see him being a guy that teams fall in love with.
Everybody sees.
Let me ask you a question. The Jets have the 35th and the 38th, right? What are the chances that Tyler Linderbaum falls to them in the second?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. See, Dave,
that's a good answer
to get Linderbaum in the second round.
I'm telling you, early second round, he might be there.
That's a really good answer to the question too that the guy asked about a surprise. Even though I don't know if that's a surprise anymore, because I just think that's been. I'd bet on Tyler Linderbaum being available on day 2. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
All right, cool. One last Cowboys question for you, not coming from me. It's from Kyle Kerms, who's one of those Cowboys fans that don't really appreciate the second contracts, hates the Zeke deal. He's one of those guys. He comes in here and asks, if the Dallas Cowboys take a quarterback in the late rounds and develop for a couple years, who is the best candidate? And Brock Purdy better be the answer. So, will the Cowboys address quarterback in this draft?
Probably not. They could do it like they did with, Danucci was a draft pick. I was gonna say they could do it as that
was a favor, not a draft pick.
Yeah, they could do it as a priority free agent type of deal. I just don't think they have enough capital to spend a pick on a quarterback.
I agree.
When they have a Cooper Rush, a Ben DiNucci, a Will Greer, like they have those type of development.
Cooper Rush is 1-0.
Cooper Rush did beat the Vikings.
So you got to give as far as backup quarterbacks go, he's proven that he could do the job. Long term, they're committed to Dak. I also don't see them doing a quarterback right now.
Skylar Thompson's my favorite.
One more question before we go, because we didn't actually hear anything about your analysis on the tight end position.
Trey
McBride is my guy.
Train.
I feel like everybody that looks at the tight end class is fairly thin, though. Correct? There's not really this high end.
Well, it's not high end, but I'd say it's deep. It's not top heavy at all, but I think it's really deep this year.
So are you on the McBride train like some others, like myself?
Yeah. McBride's my tight end 1. Jeremy Ruckert's my tight end 2. I still really like Isaiah Likely, the Coastal Carolina tight end. He did not test well at all, but I think when you watch him play, he plays like a better athlete than he tested. He blocks a lot. He can play as that detached tight end as well. So I like him a ton. Kate Otten out of Washington's my tight end 4. Greg Dulcich is my tight end 5 out of UCLA. Jelani Woods is my tight end 6 out of Virginia. Charlie Collier out of Iowa State is one of my favorite players in this class. Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin. Okawanku out of Maryland. And then Grant Calcaterra out of SMU is how I got those guys ranked out.
I like that. I like it. And you can find all of this stuff in Connor's massive breakdown. I got one more thing for you because I'm curious, and I don't know if you were listening to the beginning of the show. The shirt I'm representing is Mike Tavertoff, defensive end from Rutgers, okay? Here's his numbers, okay? His pro day was 4.75 40. He benched 225 28 times, a 35-inch vertical, and a 9.6 broad jump. If you were to take those numbers, would you say that this kid potentially can land somewhere within like the last day of the draft?
Yeah, those are good numbers for sure. What is he, a defensive lineman?
Defensive end, yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, like I said, I feel bad for some of these day 3 defensive ends because, like, you look at some of these guys, late on day 3, and you're like, damn, that kid's really good. Dominique Robinson. There's a ton of dudes who I like a lot that are going to be available in day 3 that probably will be available in day 3 because there's going to be 30 dudes who get drafted, ahead of them because of how deep this edge class is. So you're going to, if you're looking for edge rush, that could be another thing we see too, that after that first round, after that top 6, 7, 8 edge rushers are gone, teams might just wait because they feel like they can get really good edge rushers or similar caliber of edge rushers in the 4th and 5th round that they could in the 2nd and 3rd round because of how deep it is.
Got you. All right, yo, Connor, man, you took a lot of time
Killed the
to
game,
join us.
bro. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much, bro. We will be obviously exchanging thoughts and prayers for the Cowboys on Twitter during the NFL draft. Go check out Connor right now. Connor NFL Draft on Twitter. He's got his whole breakdown. Go find it. It's $5 for like 75 million pages. I don't even know how many pages this thing is, but it's a lot. I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
And
there's
look,
player
and
profiles,
look, aesthetically
everything.
pleasing. It's not just this black and white, because I'm looking over right now. It's done very well.
It's-
It's definitely worth $5.
Especially
put all this
if you're a
together for
draft nut like
$5,
some of you guys are, this is the guy to go to. So Connor, man, thank you so much for coming on the Child Sports Daily, bro.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, man. So that is Connor. Now I'm the draft expert. Put the the other background up.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you. But anyway, so that's Connor Livesay. He's obviously a really good dude. I know him because I work with him over at bloggingtheboys.com, but he dives heavy into the draft. Connor is that guy. So for all of your draft needs, head on over to his Twitter. He is going to be all over it. As we were too. This is a longer show today. We appreciate you sticking with us, guys. Please be sure to like the video and, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. A lot more draft content coming your way this week. Potential guests, who knows? We got a couple more days to go. So for Sturch and what you got? The Jazz.
My name.
Oh, your name. Sturch and my name. And of course, thank you so much. Big time producing out of Wrestling Rob today. Let's go, Miami. Oh, all right. So he's taking Trae Young. The day today on Tuesday, April 26th, is the day that Trae Young gets put to sleep. Let's go, Miami
Just
Heat.
hold him down after the game and shave his fucking head already.
For anybody that I know you guys weren't really looking at the comments. Did you guys see Kyle's takes on Mel Kiper?
No, I did
He
not.
said
Well,
that Mel Kiper is actually more accurate than the rest of the guys. He's not wrong.
he's probably not wrong. And like I said, there's probably nobody that works harder than Mel Kiper.
It's got to be like one of the hardest things
dude,
in the world.
Do you know how many players you have to analyze?
So we got Ryan asking, what's the topic for tomorrow? Well, we're going to let these games materialize tonight, and we'll have a full slate of NBA games to break down.
And Ryan, listen, bro, you're in the comments, right? I would absolutely follow us on all social medias, at Chop Sports Media on Twitter. Hit us up. What do you want to hear? Because we are interactive, boys and girls, and that's why we talk to you guys throughout the entire show. So definitely hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you want to hear about. We have obviously, yes, the NBA slate's going down tonight. The Yankees are back in action tonight. The Mets are back in action tonight. Lots to talk about tomorrow on a hump day.
Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of football sprinkled in because it's draft week. So we'll talk about some of the rumors that we're seeing come out. Is this team going to trade out? Is this team going to trade up? All basically, we're going to prognosticate.
I like that. I like that word. Nick Shine coming in. The Nets and Trae Young losing in 24 hours. Dave's going to do a little something in his pants. Listen, I'm excited. I would love to say, I already got the Nets out, and now Trae Young's gone the next day. Shit, come on. That's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. So, Sturch, Gooch, Rob, we'll see you guys tomorrow.